Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video under the across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, December 12th, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what that's been like in your year recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let's just take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can still see that the entire Atlantic basin is being dominated by that ridge of high pressure that's sending all of those easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can see that we have a cold front that stretches all the way from northeastern portions of North Atlantic all the way down into portions of the northeastern Caribbean. And we can also see that to the south of that cold front, we have numerous troughs across portions of the main development region. We can also see that we still have that cold front right there that stretches all the way from northern sections of North Atlantic, all the way down into portions of the Bahamas, Cuba, and the Western Caribbean. And it is this cold front that we just saw and the rainbow satellite images bring a lot of high level clouds, a lot of thunderstorm activity as we can see by those greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, especially across portions of the Bahamas, Cuba, the Cayman Islands, section of Central America as we speak. And we can see everything even better on the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down. The clouds associated with that cold front that we mentioned earlier, heading into portions of the northeastern Caribbean. The clouds associated with those troughs of low pressure across portions of the western portion of the main development region. We can also see that flow of low-level clouds across portions of the south central and western Caribbean from east to west, all courtesy of that easterly trade wind brought about by that ridge of high pressure. We'll be talking more about the Atlantic's weather later on, or the Caribbean's weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, December 12th. It was stated that sections of northern Jamaica would have received some early morning rainfall on Tuesday. Then, sections of southern Jamaica would have gotten in some amount of rainfall. And we know northern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes such as Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Southern Jamaica, we're talking about Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And what ended up happening? A post was made on our Twitter page, not only our Twitter page, but our Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok page. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there. So a post was made at 4:10 a.m. this morning, highlighting the Cuban Doppler radar images showing light to moderate rainfall, as represented by those greens and some yellows, as we can see by the key on the right, affecting sections of some northern parishes, even affecting portions of eastern St. Thomas as well. So I guess that prediction panned out. As it relates to the afternoon hours now, a post wasn't made, but we indeed saw on the visible satellite images some clouds right there across southern Jamaica, western St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth. Definitely portions of St. Elizabeth got in some amount of thunderstorm activity, and we even saw that better on the infrared satellite images that shows the high cold cloud tops as represented by those blues, greens, yellows, oranges, and reds. Not to mention the sparkling white dots that are indicative of some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. And we even had some of that across sections of eastern Westmoreland as well. And we did indeed have confirmation of this rainfall, especially on the north coast. True Day 2020 stating, hey, me think a storm this morning out a door. And when asked what parish that was, she said it was in St. Anne. Taking a look at the latest Doppler radar images, we can see some lingering showers still off the south coast of the island, to the southwest of Westmoreland, to the southeast of St. Thomas as well. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can say we have 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 3 a.m. on a Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. As relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, you can see that this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on a Wednesday. When we look at the key on the right, we can see the grays that Jamaica is embedded in. That represents average or normal temperatures. I know the average or the normal temperatures for the month of December across Jamaica are about the same as 87 degrees Fahrenheit. And we know on the thermometer that 87 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So 30 degrees Celsius is what we will be experiencing across Jamaica for Wednesday, and we're indeed grateful for that. Average temperatures, finally. Hopefully, we can get in on some of those blues that represent below normal temperatures very soon. As relates to the dry air map, we can still see that we still have a lot of moist air across portion of the central and western Caribbean, including Jamaica, all courtesy of that cold front. But we do see the yellows, as you can see by the key on the bottom, yellows, oranges, reds, and whites within those reds, plaguing portion of the central and eastern Caribbean, not to mention that area right there off the coast of Africa with those reds and whites within those reds that signify a lot of dry air, not to mention dust from the Sahara Desert, as we can see by these browns. Definitely eastern to central main development region as well as portions of Africa is what's going to be plagued by the Saharan dust for 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Taking a look at the wave forecast, we can see the blues surrounding the island that represent 1 to up to 2 meter wave heights, the purples anywhere from 2 to maybe even 3 meter wave heights to the south and the east of the island. And that's because the winds are going to be strongest wherever we have those high wave heights in the purple. So you can see the yellows across the waters to the south and east of the island, so it all makes sense. The yellows represent 25 to 30 knots, and we can see a lot of greens elsewhere, maybe brushing the north coast as well as especially the south coast. Either way, the winds are coming in from the east, so if there's some amount of rainfall coming in from the east across the island tomorrow, it's going to be affecting portions of eastern parishes in Jamaica. And we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, a section of Portland, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas. And then if you actually take a closer look, we have the least amount of winds across inland areas of some central and western parishes. That's where all of the air is going to be piling up. That's where we're going to be having those cumulus clouds becoming some possibly, rainmakers during the afternoon, maybe cumulonimbus clouds if they get that high. But we have to take this forecast with a grain of salt, especially considering that we have a lot of high level clouds in the vicinity of Jamaica, pushing from west to east from the clouds associated with that cold front. And when we have a lot of high level clouds across the Jamaica area, sometimes that prohibits the development of afternoon convection, so we don't have that strong daytime heating as one would expect, and then in turn it would affect the afternoon convection. Just like for today, it was actually forecast to bring more in the way of rainfall for southern Jamaica, and we saw that it was only confined to sections of eastern Westmoreland and sections of St. Elizabeth. And I'm pretty sure that if we didn't have all of these high cold cloud tops pushing from west to east, it would have been a much different day in terms of rainfall. Either way, definitely, both Euro and the GFS are showing that the air is going to be piling up across central and western Jamaica. And with the upper level winds coming in from the southwest for tomorrow. So, right now, we can see the upper level winds coming in from the west or the west southwest right now. Tomorrow it's expected to start coming more from the southwest, as we can see by these forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS. This is valid for 1 p.m. on Wednesday. So it would definitely favor more of that overcast skies and possibly afternoon thunderstorm activity across sections of northern Jamaica, Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, and Hanover. Either way, taking a look at the rainfall forecast now, look at this from the Euro and the GFS. We're seeing blues, and the blues we know represent rainfall across sections of eastern Jamaica as well as northern Jamaica. So maybe sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas. Definitely St. Thomas going to be getting in on that rainfall. Not so much on the Euro for St. Thomas, but the GFS surely showing something to watch. Taking a look at a couple of hours later, this is 11 a.m. We still see much of the same across eastern Jamaica. Portland, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas. We'll see exactly what unfolds. We know how these forecasts go. They show the blues that represent rainfall, and then we might not necessarily get it everywhere, but it's definitely going to be raining somewhere in some of those spots for tomorrow. And that's valid for 11 a.m. Skipping ahead to about 3 p.m. now. Take a look at this. Eastern, Central, and Western Jamaica are in the forecast to receive some amount of rainfall tomorrow. It's quite interesting that both the Euro and the GFS models are showing this. So we'll see exactly what unfolds with that. Eastern Jamaica, Central Jamaica, we know we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. Western Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. So St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney. We'll see exactly what unfolds with a forecast like this. Either way, both the Euro and the GFS accumulated precipitation forecasts are in consensus that there's going to be some amount of rainfall across the island tomorrow. Both of these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. Not saying that it's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but within that time period, these are the spots that are going to be getting in on that rainfall. And we see that the Euro is a bit less robust than the GFS. The Euro showing up to 0.26 of an inch of rainfall for the totals, and that's confined to eastern Jamaica. GFS showing something similar with the location, definitely eastern Jamaica with the most rainfall totals. But in terms of the amount, you can see the GFS showing up to 0.61 of an inch of rainfall. Even some reds in there that could indicate close to an inch of rainfall. So maybe some isolated flash flooding could take place across portions of eastern Jamaica. Either way, we see rest of the island on the GFS being shaded as opposed to what's on the Euro. So we'll see exactly what unfolds. We're in the month of December, the first month of our dry season. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get before we are dying for more rain in the peak of the dry season as we head into February, March, and April. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we can see those clouds associated with that cold front still pushing their way into portions of the Leeward Islands as we speak with some amount of overcast skies, isolated showers. Section of Trinidad and Tobago getting in on some of the action as well. Definitely section of Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, the Yucatan Peninsula, Cayman Islands, Cuba, the Bahamas getting in on a lot of overcast skies, if not showers and thunderstorms associated with that cold front. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of northeastern Caribbean, we can see the greens that represent rainfall across sections of the northeastern Caribbean, just like what we saw just now, all courtesy of that tail end of the cold front. Definitely sections of Guadeloupe tonight, Antigua and Barbuda. Not so much St. Martin, St. Kitts, the US and British Virgin Islands, or Puerto Rico. But if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can definitely see some rainfall coming into sections of Barbados as we speak, sections of the Grenadine Islands, as well as maybe Grenada tonight, as we can see that flow coming in from the northeast, as well as portions of Trinidad and Tobago, especially eastern Trinidad, maybe northeastern Trinidad as well. Taking a look at the temperature forecast, we're starting to see those blues that represent some below normal temperatures starting to intrude intersection of the northeastern Caribbean. So it's much welcome below average temperatures, as well as more in the way of average temperatures as represented by those grays for majority of the Caribbean islands. But the above normal temperatures are still going to be plaguing portions of northern South America, as well as sections of the Western Caribbean, not to mention southern Florida, Bahamas, and South Central America. Taking a look at the siren dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, we can see that majority of the Caribbean should be in the clear as all the dust associated with the Sahara Desert should be situated across portions of the eastern main development region as well as Africa as represented by those browns. Look at these wave forecast maps. Lots of purples, if not maybe burgundy colors that represent 2 to even 3 or even 4 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds are gonna be strong across majority of the Caribbean. Look at that very strong east northeast or northeasterly flow across the Caribbean from the Leeward Islands stretching all the way down into portions of the southern Caribbean, southwestern Caribbean that is. Not to mention the Gulf of Mexico with that northeasterly flow. You can see more in the way of yellows even although it's mixing with the greens, and we know that from the key at the bottom. The key showing the greens that represent 15 to 20 knots, the yellows and even some gold and some slight burgundy colors representing anywhere from 25 knots to even close to 30 knots. And that's the forecast for tomorrow. It's definitely going to be quite a windy day across the Caribbean. As relates to the rainfall forecast now, we're still seeing tremendous rainfall still in the forecast for sections of Belize, sections of Honduras, Guatemala, sections of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, northwestern Panama, the Yucatan Peninsula, northwestern Cuba, southern Florida, the Bahamas. We can also see the consensus for rainfall on both the Euro and the GFS for sections of northeastern Cuba, sections of the Dominican Republic, northeastern or eastern Puerto Rico, section of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, areas to the south of there, including maybe Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, coastal areas of Suriname, French Guyana, Guyana, section of coastal areas of Venezuela as well. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing something similar like this, the chances of actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.